Hey guys, so today I decided to do a book haul. So I went to Chapters. I love Chapters. I don't only go to Chapters, I do go to the BMV, and I also download it on my Kindle. But however, I went to Chapters and I bought a ton of books, and this is what I'm going to be reading for the next few months, so I thought I would like to show you. However, I did start one book and I'm halfway done another book, and I started a little bit of another book. I just couldn't wait. I love to read, it's fun, and I get lost. So I just want to show you what I'm reading, and maybe you guys would like some of the books and want to read it. So the first one I actually did start to, I already finished it, and I'll give you my opinion. It's called The Prisoner and the Chaplain. This is by Michelle Berry. So, oh, I've just found $10. Oh, okay. So anyway, so I did read this book. It's not very long. It was only like 240 pages, 245 pages. It was really good. It was about 20 bucks. My views, if you do not want to kind of hear spoilers about this book, because I've already read it, I would skip through this part now, as this video will be a little bit long as well. So anyway, The Prisoner and the Chaplain was an okay book. It wasn't my favorite book. Would I recommend it? Not really. It reminded me of the movie The Green Mile, if anybody's seen it. It's a classic. I think mostly everybody's seen it or has heard of the movie and the plot of the movie and what goes on. So that kind of reminds me of it. Pretty much what happens is there's a guy who's in prison, the prisoner, and there's a chaplain. He is on death sentence, and he kind of tells the chaplain the whole story, as the chaplain's also realizing his own story, and how they're kind of alike, and it goes to how he came into prison, or how he got into prison. And obviously, like the Green Mile, in the end of the book, you realize he wasn't the actual killer, and he obviously believes he should just die anyway because he's done bad stuff to begin with, and he dies. Yes, like the Green Mile, obviously a little bit different. Not a lot of, like, Green Mile was kind of taking place in a different time, I find, and there's a lot of different backstory between that. This is just a little different. It is okay. It does start off slow. You kind of want to know, like, what did he do? How did it happen? Let's go, let's go. But obviously he's telling you from the beginning of a story of his childhood to how he became who he is. I did at times really get bored, and I was debating either to put the book down and start something new, but I was like, why not just finish it? And by closer to the end of the book, I got stuck on the book. That's my cat making noise, if you can hear that in the background. I got stuck, and obviously by the end of the book, I was like, what the hell? I waited this whole book to find this out. It was kind of like, maybe I just didn't realize what was going on. Oh, focus. Okay, good. It was kind of like, then the book, it was like, I don't know, at the end of the book, it's like, it took that long to figure out, like, it was just like, it kind of just dragged on, oh my god, it kind of just dragged on a little too much, but, it was okay. Like, if you're into that kind of book, and you like that slow start, more of, like, slow, pretty much book, I would read it then. Next book, however, I am halfway through. It is called The Sun in Our Flower by Rupi Kaur. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible person at butchering names. It looks like this. This book I think was 20 bucks as well. So this book, I actually like it. It's very interesting. I'll just read you. It's hard to explain the book due to the fact that it's kind of, I don't know if you can really see. I don't know if my camera is focusing, but it's kind of like poetry. There's different sections. Oh, my bookmark. There's different sections of the book that go into different situations, but I'll just read you the back. It says, "This is the recipe of life," said my mother, as she held me in her arms as I wept. "Think of those flowers you plant in the garden each year. They will teach you that people too must wilt, fall, root, rise in order to bloom." So there's not exactly like chapters, but technically there's like maybe like 3-4, like there's a few parts in the book. So like the first section is about like wilting, second section would be about falling, root, rise, and bloom, like how it says in the back. And pretty much it's very like intense in the sense that like it really makes you think, and it can be very depressing and sad because I obviously don't want to do any spoilers if people who do like reading poetry, like a different kind of twist of poetry. Some parts I was like, oh my god, like I don't know, like, oh my god, I'm sweating. Can you guys see this? I'm like drenched. The book's making me intense. Maybe I can just, I don't know, I was gonna read you a passage from the book, but like, okay, so like one section in the book that didn't obviously, it was just sad, for example. I'm trying to find it. It was like, yesterday when I woke up, the sun fell to the ground and rolled away. Flowers beheaded themselves. All that's left alive here is me, and I barely feel like I'm living. So that's just the first part, and that is only the wilting part of that chapter. So you go from wilting to falling, and it just, as the book goes on, it just gets more intense and more kind of depressing, but you have to figure out where the author's coming from and what they're trying to tell you, and it's like you have to read between the lines. And when I first started reading this, I found that I was just kind of just reading it, like I was just skimming through it. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not really understanding this, like I don't understand what he or she, I'm not really sure, is trying to write. So I actually had to start all over. I was about 100 pages or so into the book, and I decided to start all over again. And I had to take it slow and really think about each line and each verse of what was going on. And as I was going through it, it really started to hit me. And I don't want to say any more about it. I'd rather you guys read it and tell me, if you do read this book or have read this book, tell me what you really think and what is your opinion on this book. I'm really enjoying it. As I don't really have much left, this shouldn't take me long at all. But one of my favorite part of the book was the illustration. Kind of like almost each page has a little picture that describes what is going on. But what I like about them, they're not like, they're drawn, but like they're different. They're not like, it doesn't look professional. Like, you guys need to be careful. Like, not that it doesn't look professional. I don't really know how to explain. I'm trying to like get up on my bed. Let me find another one. Like, it's very like, obviously maybe you guys could figure out what that means. I don't want to say anything, but not really appropriate. But it's very interesting, and some of them are just very sad, and some are inappropriate, but they all kind of tell a little story, and it kind of helps you understand and go along with what is going on. It does help you focus on it, so if you may get lost throughout the thing, you can look down and see the picture, and it's like, this is what they're trying to tell you, this is what's going on. And I like it because it adds a little uniqueness to the book, and it just, like, I think it's just beautiful. I don't really know who drew these, but they kind of, maybe, to me, they look like maybe some from different people, because I find a lot of the lines are different from each other, which is supposed to be, but I'm talking about, like, how thick or thin the lines are, but I don't know if that is a part and that is what they're trying to do. But I would read this. It's really good. It is a fast read. Obviously, the pages are not exactly full. Some pages are. It's good, but I would really, when you read this, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think you'll understand when you do read it. Just take deep breath, because some of it is very sad. Like, spoilers again, I would skip through this. Very intense scene of almost like rape. Not almost like rape in the book, and it's kind of, some things are very graphic of what goes on, and that is just one part of the section, of the 5 sections I told you about. Relationships, depression, suicide, like, it's intense. Okay, so another book I did start, I'm sorry, when I got my new books, I was excited to start. So I had to take the cover off because somebody at my work spilled coffee on it, so I usually take the sleeve off to begin with, but the sleeve was in my bag when it was wet. So this is what it looks like, the cover of the book. Can you guys see it? Focus? Okay. So this is called When I Hit You, or Portrait of the Writer as a Young Wife. And this is by Mina Kandasani. So this book is also very sad. To be honest, I don't really look at my books on the internet before I pick them up. I go in there, I get lost in the books, I read the back, I read a few pages, excuse me, sometimes I'll read the first 2 pages, and then I'll open up in the middle of the book and I'll read it, and if I like it, and sometimes when I don't like maybe the first 2 pages of the middle book, I take a chance. Like, you never know, things might change. But anyway, this is very sad. I haven't gotten crazy into it. I'm about probably 38 pages in. And this is also not a long book. This is only about 250 pages. I don't remember the cost of it. Oh, it's like 25 bucks. Anyway, so this book is, I'll read you the back. It would take Carol Ann Duffy, Caroline Cordia Paris, I was going to read you the back, but it's all names of people. So that's not going to work out for me. That was the wrong section. It's right here. Okay. Seduced by politics, poetry, an enduring dream of building a better world together, the unnamed narrator falls in love with a university professor. Moving with him to a rain-washed coastal town, she swiftly learns that what for her is a bond of love is for him a contract of ownership. As he sets about reducing her to his ideal version of an obedient wife, bullying her and devouring her ambitions of being a writer in the process, she attempts to push back, a resistance he resolves to break with violence and rape. So, again, I don't know why I have a theme going on with these books, but I started it and it was really hard because the beginning is kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen. Obviously not by the end of the book, but I find closer to the end of the book. Short story straight, it's about a Hindu woman, and I believe he's also a Hindu man, and throughout the book it kind of talks about like the culture, and she pretends that she's an actress and she has to play this perfect role of, as it says, an obedient wife, and sometimes she'll be like entrance or scene 1 or scene 2, and then it just goes on to being a novel. But it's very intense of what she goes through. For example, one thing she says that I kind of like have it written in my book because I really I'm not saying like men are this and women are this, but it kind of struck me. Okay, I'll just read it and see what you think. She says, second person. She is working on the principle that let me phrase this again. She is working on the principle that to consult a man is to make him feel like a king, and to report to him is to make him feel like a god. And you know what? Reading that, I was like, true. Like, I was like, okay, that is correct. I can see that. Like, see when the way they are, the ambition, the feeling of power, like you can see it, like exactly how she says. If you really look and talk to them and consult them, and they're like, yeah, I know better kind of situation. So when I was reading it, it was interesting. And why does my phone always go off? It was very interesting. I would recommend this book. I haven't gotten crazy far into it. But so far I am really into it. I'm gonna be honest, when I read it, I do take it day by day because sometimes it can be intense and it can be very sad. And sometimes, I don't know if you get the same way, but when you're reading a sad or depressed book, sometimes you can't help feeling sad or depressed. And like, obviously when I read, I visualize everything. So I feel like I'm there watching it. And sometimes it's just like, I have to take a step back and be like, whoa. But so far, it's a good book. I would recommend this. Next book, I haven't started reading, but I'm excited to read. It's The Handmaid's Tale. The cover looks like this. So yes, obviously there is a TV show out there. I have not watched a TV show. I've heard really great reviews, and I think they won a Globe or something. But I didn't want to read the book. I didn't want to watch the show first. I wanted to read the book first. And I can't believe, I think it was filmed in Canada, I think, right? But it just, I saw commercials and I was watching trailers, and my mom watches it, so sometimes if I was over, I would watch little bits and pieces of it with her. But it was just, I felt like there was so much going on, and I felt like I maybe couldn't get into it from the show, so I thought maybe if I read the book better, I would better understand what is going on, and I feel like maybe I can relate better in a sense, because I feel like maybe I'm seeing it differently than maybe the director is trying to come across. So I'm really excited to read this. I was going to read the back of it, but I think everybody kind of knows about it more so that women don't have a voice anymore and men are kind of the almighty in the sense, and you follow under the man, and you can't work, you can't do certain things. They tell you what you do. And more so, I think that some people, I'm not really sure, like I haven't really read it, but I think it was saying that, what's it called again? So Offred, I guess her name is, she may leave the home of the commander and his wife once a day to walk to food markets whose signs are now pictures instead of words, because women are no longer allowed to read. She must lie on her back once a month and pray that the commander makes her pregnant, because in an age of declining births, Offred, if that's right, and the other handmaids are valued only if the ovaries are viable. Offred can remember the days before when she lived and made love with her husband Luke, when she played with and protected her daughter, when she had a job, money of her own, and access to knowledge. But all of that is gone now. When I read this, I was like, wow, like, that's a lot. And I know everybody talks about equality and everything, and a lot of people believe that men and women are at an equal phase right now of generation and how it's gone, like, it's come so far. But really thinking about it, has it? Because underlying all of that I call pretend, I feel like there's still no equality. And I'm not talking about religion, like that's a whole nother story, races and religion. But gender equality, from being a lesbian to gay, trans, like just trans or anything, I feel like there's still no equality. And I feel like what scares me is this could happen. Like, I know people are like, oh my gosh, it's a book. But, like, you never know. Like, I feel like men are starting to feel like maybe that they feel defeated by us. And they, no offense, sometimes they should, because it's time for women to take a stand. But what scares me is if men do rise against us, like, could this be what happens to us? And I feel like it's disgusting, and I feel like the book is going to be a great book. I really, like, it was even a staff pick of the month, but I'm very excited, and I feel like this is going to be a fast read. I feel like I'm not going to be able to put it down. So I recommend this if you're into this kind of stuff, and read. Okay, next book. We're almost done. I kind of saw this book online a few times, and I never really, I don't know, I never really thought to read it, and then I did. It was The Couple Next Door. So it looks like that. So, it's a sneak peek, like, there's a sneak peek of another book in there, which I got. Shari Lapina, I think that's correct. I haven't started reading it. It looks interesting. It does not look long. It's only, like, how many pages? I don't even know. Doesn't really matter. 300 pages, like, nothing. Like, come on. It looks like a fast read, but also the font's really big. I don't, compared to, like, some of my other books, I think the font's really big, so I don't think it's going to be, like, a long read. I'm really excited. I'll just read you what it says. Anne and Marco seem to have it all. A loving relationship, a wonderful home, and their beautiful baby Cora. But one hot summer night, they are invited to a dinner party next door, and a terrible crime is committed. Suspicion immediately focuses on the parents, but the truth is a much more complicated story. An unsettling account of what actually happened unfolds. Detective Rasbach knows that the panicked couple is hiding something, but Anne and Marco discover that others is keeping secret they have kept for years. What follows is a nerve-wracking unraveling of a family, a chilling tale of deception and unfaithfulness that will keep you breathless until the final shocking twist. Love it. I love that suspenseful, thrilling books. It keeps me going. It keeps my light on at night, which may be bad because I got work in the morning. But, like, I find, like, these books, the other one I'm going to show you too, kind of remind me a lot, like, I'm not sure if it's the same author of Gone Girl. I do have the book somewhere. I did read that as well before the movie came out. But, okay, I get, like, the plot of Gone Girl is different, but, like, the suspenseful kind of couple situation, like, suspicion on each other, I don't know, just kind of remind me of each other. I don't know if you guys agree too, but I feel like there's, like, a genre, like, there's just this whole author thing going on with all of these authors. if that makes any sense with all these books. But anyway, I think I'll probably talk about the book if I like it. If I don't like it, maybe it will be an like or dislike video in a month or two whenever I start this one, which probably will be soon. But anyway, I got another book, one of the best-selling author of The Couple Next Door, same author. I bought A Stranger in the House. I thought the cover looked crazy cool. Again, it's probably like only 300 pages, big words. It just says, you're home making dinner for your husband. You expect him any second. The phone rings. It's the call you hoped you'd never get. You jump in your car and race to the neighborhood you thought you'd never visit. You peer into the dark, deserted building and brace yourself for the worst. After that, you remember nothing. They tell your husband you've been in an accident. You lost control of your car as you sped through the roughest part of town. The police suspect you were up to no good. But your husband refuses to believe it. He thinks he knows you better than anyone else. Your best friend is not so sure. And even you don't know what to believe. Sounds good, suspenseful. Love it, like it, great. Again, I don't know. Like, they all kind of... Let me see if I can get that book. Give me 1 second. Okay, no, not Gone Girl. Yes, Gone Girl. It reminds me of Gone Girl, and it reminds me of Girl on the Train. The Girl on the Train. I know, like, in a sense, the plot of both of them were a bit different, but I think it's like this couple thing going on. I can't find Gone Girl, but I don't know. They all kind of remind me of each other in a bit. I first thought maybe it was the same authors, all of them, and I'm like, no, they're different authors. Obviously, Paula Hawkins, but I don't know, they kind of remind me, so I'm excited to read them to see if maybe I can tie lines between them, and if they really do have a weird connection to each other, or the authors are all kind of thinking. I'm not looking at the plot, I'm looking at the characters themselves. I'm looking at the relationship between the characters and how what is going on between the characters themselves, not if there's like certain crimes, but that's what I'm actually looking to see if they're like. And second last book, very excited to read. I wanted to pick this up a long time ago. It is Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, by Noah Harari. I'm terrible with names, I'm so sorry. This is what it looks like. I think this book is kind of popular. I've seen people on the bus read it. I asked the person, this guy in the bus, what he's reading, because it looked really good. Okay, I know this is creepy, but when people are reading books on the bus, I have a tendency, if I don't have my book, to read off their book, and that's what I was doing, and he just stared at me, and this is what he was reading. So, literally, this is basically a history of Sapiens, Homo sapiens, and I thought this was very interesting and exciting. So I'm really excited to start reading this soon. It is a bit long. I don't know, to be honest, if it's gonna be really dense material. I'm kind of suspecting that, but I'm probably, when I usually read 2 books at a time, but obviously when I'm reading this, I might be reading one of these books just to kind of keep my brain moving, because I don't want to get too bored. I don't know if I'm going to get that bored off of it, but I'm very excited for this one. And last but not least, Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. So, John Green, Fault in the Stars, like all of those crazy books, great author. I love all his books. And so I am excited, and I saw it, I'm like, why not? So, what it says, a 16-year-old Asa intended to pursue the mystery of fugitive billionaire Russell Bickett. But there's a $100,000 reward to stake, and her best and most fearless friend Daisy is eager to investigate. So together they navigate the short distance and broad divides that separate them from Russell Bickett's son Davis. She is trying to be a good daughter, a good friend, a good student, and maybe even a good detective, while also living within an ever-tightening spiral of her own thoughts. So, I just thought this might be a fun read. It's not long, so I thought it'd be one of those like short reads, maybe a few days it would take me, just to get through, something easy and relaxing, maybe to take my mind off of the other depressing books or the history lesson. So I thought maybe this would be good. I really love The Fault in the Stars. I don't know about you guys, but Fault in Our Stars. when I read it, I actually cried. When I watched the movie, I cried. I do read the book. I was gonna read it again, but every time I read it, it like hits me really hard. So I'm always like, it's one of those books I have to put away for a few months. Don't even look at it and come back and just like, I read The Fault in Our Stars in like 2-3 days. So I think that's what's gonna happen with this book. I don't know. I'm excited. I love all my books. If you guys do want to see an actual review on the other books that I haven't read yet and tell you what I thought about them, some spoilers, if it's worth the buy, or would you rather just buy it on something else, like, I don't know, instead of buying hard, like sometimes it's cheaper to buy. I find books are cheaper to buy on Kindle, but if that's the case, I will let you know. You just leave your comments below and I could tell you all of that. I could do like maybe February favorites or dislikes kind of thing, and whatever books I've read, I could do that with that as well. So that is it for my book haul. Read is the best thing for your mind. I know some people can't really get into it, and some people like, oh, they can't really find a book they like. There's tons of books out there. Don't get me wrong, I don't just read books. I read comic books. I read comic books. I read all kind of stuff. And there is tons of material out there for everybody. But just read. Just read. Anyway, so that's it for tonight. I will see you guys next Sunday, because this will be going up this Sunday, which is today. aka I think you'll be watching it today. But yeah, have a great night, have a great week. I love you guys, and say bye to my babies. Bye.